Hello. Welcome guys, welcome to today's video. First of all, I'd like to say, finally got some fuel and some flints. So the Zippo is finally functional. I actually literally just refilled it with lovely Zippo fluid. I've had it for a few weeks now and there's not much left in there. Planning to order another one of these tonight. So yeah, this thing is absolutely fabulous. But fun lighters aside, that is not the purpose of today's episode. Well, I say episode. Technically, it is an episode of a series. If you guys are not familiar, you should recognize this book if you saw the last video I posted, which was... I hear a key.
Oh my god!
No? Okay, cool. Well, which was... What the... Oh yeah, that was my French stuff. Yes! Okay, there's like no light in here. Can I open the curtains, please? There we go. Lovely. But this lovely topic over here, which is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. This is actually part two of my explanation video. In the first episode, if you didn't watch, I highly recommend going and watching that because, well, I covered basically everything we for sure 100% know because it was within our... the flight was within tracking capabilities. Now, this episode is going to focus on what happened outside of this tracking range, right? So let me just give you a quite quick recap. So, took off from Kuala Lumpur, destination was supposed to be Beijing. It got to a waypoint called Igari, and then shortly prior to that, that's where we lost, that's where ATC, Air Traffic Control, lost all communications with this aircraft. Shortly after it lost communication, the only way we were able to track it is through Malaysia's military primary radar, which is basically like your conventional radars you see in like movies and stuff. Kind of like sonar on submarines, except it's radar. So it's different, but yeah, same kind of capabilities. So after this point, just radar. So we made a sharp left turn after Igari. Just skirted the border between Thai airspace and Malaysian airspace, then went up the Strait of Malacca. And after that, after this arc, that's the radius of the military radar. After this, we have no tracking of the aircraft whatsoever, at least no intentional tracking of the aircraft whatsoever. So today's episode, we're gonna get into what happened after that. Can I just say that this lighter is so, it's so sick. Genuinely, today's been a particularly cold day, at least for the hands. So it's very useful. I just do this, let it like really heat up, and it's a nice hand warmer. Or I'll just have my hand directly over the flame. It's genuinely so useful. Like, I haven't got to a point where I need to heat up my drink, but I really want to because it's such a sick thing. But yeah, I do recommend everyone has one of these. Right, I do also want to try a new format of. Hold on. Let me get in proper sitting position. I want to try a new format of videos. Guys, all my previous videos, all the vlogs, all of that, has been me flipping the belly. We're obviously going to keep the belly because, come on, it's amazing, right? There's me flipping the belly, yapping with background music. So I want to eliminate the background music part because, I mean, I've been watching loads of people's videos on YouTube, you know, ever since I existed, right? Okay, I'm not that young, but yeah, ever since I was like a kid. I say that, I'm still a kid. But yeah, and most people that do like vlogs and stuff or just general videos, they don't have constant background music. So I want to change the format. So what I want to do is I want to have intro music, have me, you know, introducing the video, and then we'll just get on with it, right? So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Right. In our story, we had just lost communication. Well, I say communication. We lost the ability to track the flight. This was after after travels up the Strait of I almost said the Strait of Hormuz. Christ, America's really messed us up these days, hasn't it? But no, the Malaccan Strait. After we leave the Malaccan Strait, we are no longer able to track it. But if you've watched the Netflix series, first of all, I should have started with this. Planes go up, planes go down. But what planes don't do it just disappear off the face of the earth. I should have started with that, I can't lie. I was planning to start with that as well. I really don't know why I didn't. But right, let's go on to our next page and just hope that there's nothing on the. Are my hands waxy now? What? Why? Or is it just the paper? I think it's just the paper. It's been really moist.
That's what she said.
Like the pause. Whoa, the air has been just really. Yeah. I can feel it in the paper as well. Should I dry it out, guys? Should I actually dry it? Hold on. Should I actually dry it out, guys? Maybe? No? Okay. So, this is going to be post-tracking. So, I'm actually drawing another map. You know what? Screw it. Yeah, let's draw another map. It's going to have to be a different map this time, isn't it? We're going to have to draw... Oh, by the way, guys, I did acknowledge my mistake. That's not Sri Lanka, that's Singapore. I don't know, what am I on about? I need help, guys.
Emotional damage.
But yeah, we have Thailand up there, we have Malaysia just chilling over here. Doing its thing.
What?
And we have Indonesia doing whatever, I don't know what Indonesia, that looks so... Let's not do that, shall we? Let's sure that doesn't make it much better. But yeah, Singapore, not Sri Lanka. Singapore's over there. So, and obviously the island Penang, Kuala Lumpur, Beijing, up there. This is all the important stuff. Vietnam, yada yada yada. So we established Igari, and this is our flight path. I'm just going to label Igari over here. Igari. Cool. Yeah, okay. That looks like a C. I can't. My handwriting's even worse in real life, guys. I know. Sad. But. Speaking of tracking and all things tracking like, let's talk about sequence of events. Sequence of events, shall we? Where did we leave off in our last episode of sequence of events? Number 6, the fabulous turn after the whole SATCOM. And this SATCOM system will be very, very important. Right, so number seven. First of all, at this point, everyone's theoretically dead. Except for the captain, because the 44-minute oxygen mask would have run out somewhere over here. I forgot to mention. First of all, I remember the first officer's name now. Farik Abdul Hamid, that's his name. And captain, of course, Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah. But the reason we know that Farik was alive and conscious, at least, yeah, I suppose conscious and alive, is that when the flight was traveling, hold on, let me zoom in for you guys.
Nice.
When the flight reached, at least started turning around Penang. Well, no, I say around Penang. After the point of Penang, right? The relative speed between the aircraft and the island slowed down. Because if you think about it, yeah? So, let me draw this over here. Say you have a... Okay, can you keep it in frame? Say you have a point, right? You're standing over here, right? You have your buddy, he's on a bike. He speeds past. He's going in a straight line. He's absolutely ripping it. And for you, he's going ridiculously fast. But imagine, he keeps the same speed, but he turns around you and then heads back, right? As far as you're concerned, he kind of slows, from your perspective, his relative speed slows down for you. Even though he's going the same speed as he was when he's going straight, since he's turning around you, his speed relative to you is slower. And that's very important for things like cell phone communication, right? Because obviously you can't contact anyone when you're on a flight, right? Even if you try to turn on your data and stuff, it just won't connect. It will not connect to any radio stations because you're going so fast and you're just flying so high that the signals just don't accurately reach their destinations, right? They don't hit the satellites and stuff. So since the flight turned, like same scenario as your friend on the bike, its relative speed relative to the island of Penang slowed down. This allowed Farik's cell phone, I believe it was, I'm not even gonna guess. let's just say cell phone. His cell phone connected to one of the cell towers in Penang. And we know this. We know this because when we look at cell phone logs or the logs of connections, right? We can see that Farouk's cell phone connected to one of the cell towers in Penang. It shows like a connection message, like similar to the logon message. Bruh, why did I just refilled this? Literally just refilled this. But oh god, that smoke is. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It sent a connection message to the what's it called, the cell tower. It recorded the fact that his cell phone connected, and it didn't connect for like a meaningful amount of time. I think it was like 0.5 seconds. So he couldn't really do much. He couldn't call anyone, contact the airline. By this point, right? Why do I smell burning?
Huh?
Well, I wonder what. Guys, I meant to say, why do I smell hair burning? And obviously, it's not my hair because it's nowhere near my face. That's a story for another time. I can't lie. I accidentally burnt my hair, but we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, his cell phone logged on, which means he would have had to open his phone, put his data on, because obviously you turn your data off and you turn your phones off when you're flying, or you put them on airplane mode. So obviously he took his phone off airplane mode or turned his phone on to connect it to the cell tower, right? So that's how we know he's alive, because someone must have done this. And considering it's Farouk's phone that he'd have to get into, we're assuming it's Farouk that's obviously like actually turned on his phone and stuff, right? So we know he was alive when they were turning out towards the island of Penang. But after that, we have no indication that anyone else was alive on board, like, except for the captain, of course. Although you could have just programmed the flight plan after this. So we really don't know. We don't know a lot of stuff. And I don't think we will ever know, but just between you and me, because I can't lie, 12 years in salt water. The flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, they're gone. I can't lie, they're just gone. I do not care how resilient you think you can make flight data recorders and cockpit voice recorders, but 12 years in salt water, man. Salt water, metal, and electronics, they do not go well together at all. And considering that these devices are also battery powered to send out a signal, if salt water entered the battery compartments, it's not working anymore. I'm sorry, it's gone. The flight data recorder is gone. And also, judging by the entry profile of the aircraft into the sea, it's even less likely that it would have survived. But I will get into that in a bit. That's what we're going to do in this episode. This might be a very long episode, I can't lie, because we're already at 12 minutes. And I've barely even started. But yes, what you might be asking now. Yes, he was alive, and they escaped. Zahari escaped all conventional tracking methods. What now? What happened to them? What do we know? What we know is that this is what the flight path could have looked like. Oh, I might have to rub this out. My previous bike analogy. Yes, right. So this is what the flight plan would have looked like. Something like this, and then, yes, there's a very specific reason for this shape, by the way, and that we know that. And there's actually two possible flight paths, well, I guess technically infinite possible flight paths. One conventional one that looks like this, and one less conventional one that looks like this, similar to this. It's not perfect, because I'm just doing this from memory, but I think my memory is pretty good on this, considering I am the nerdiest nerd you've ever seen. Like, come on, guys. I have a Zippo lighter, a balisong, and I know everything about planes, so come on. This is why I get no girls. Anyways, 7 handshakes. If you guys have watched the Netflix documentary, you know what the handshakes are. But before we get into the handshake, there's some very important things we need to update in. What the fuck was that? Nah. Did you hear that? Did you guys? The fuck? What was that? Who was screaming? My days. Do you need a smoke, fam? Do you need a light? For disclaimer, guys, I do not smoke. I think smoking and vaping is disgusting.
Oh my god!
And if you smoke and vape, unsubscribe and leave, please. I don't want to be associated with any of you guys. Don't actually unsubscribe because I kind of need the subs. Why did my phone vibrate? What? Probably the gyro. I don't know. But, right. Sequence of events updates. Why is this not underlined? Right. So, by the time that Captain Zahari exited the sphere of tracking by primary radar on the military's part, he's completely... engine power is gone. Well, not engine power, but electrical power is gone, right? Because if you guys remember from the last... Is it still... Damn, it's still lit. If you guys remember from the last episode, we are looking back on the last episode, where was it? Yes, it's because number 4, engines were turned off. Not engines, E-generators. The electrical generators powered by the engines were turned off. And obviously the APU was also turned off, which is the auxiliary power unit, which is the tiny jet engine in the back of the aircraft, which you'd think is the exhaust for the main engines if you have no idea what planes are, but it's not. Right? That exhaust powers the aircraft. Right. So, one of the things that happens when you turn off the electrical generators is most of your electrical systems get powered off, right? Because they have no power. Some very critical ones stay on, like emergency lighting. Some... Is this hissing? No, I think that's coming from outside. Yeah, it's from outside. I was gonna say, is this thing gonna explode on me? I would not appreciate that, but yeah. So when you turn the electrical generators off, most electrical systems are gone. Well, including that, one of the systems that do disappear is your cooling fans in the computer bay, in the avionics bay. So all those power-hungry computers, imagine an AI data center with no cooling fans or with no water cooling, right? It wouldn't go well. So by the time Zahari exited the sphere of tracking, those computers were not happy because for over almost an hour now, they have had no cooling because the fans have been off. So they're starting to overheat now, and that's obviously sending warning signals to the captain because, right, you don't want your computers to be dying. That's not good because they might even light on fire if you don't manage them because they're very power hungry computers. I mean, come on. Obviously, I say very power hungry. Yeah, they're also power hungry, and also they're in an insulated area, right? Because, but it's an aircraft. You want to stay insulated. But yes. So let's just say avionics bay. Bro, I can't spell. Oh my, avion ICS. Jesus Christ.
Emotional damage.
Avionics bay. Fuck. Brain black. Overheat. I'm overheat.
Huh?
Heated. Where's the... I want to turn the fan on, but then that would absolutely destroy... You know, screw it. Let's turn the fans on. I'll say fans, it's just one. I don't have a lot of fans. As you can see, guys. I should put on one, because I don't want it to drown me out here. This would not be... I would not be ideal of our situation. Right, so the avionics bay overheats. Now, what this does is it prompts Zahari to turn the generators back on, right? And we know that he turned the generators back on because one of the systems that comes back on when you turn on the generators is our beloved SATCOM. Now, if you remember from the last episode, Zahari, big brain, mega mind, genius guy, what he did is he cut off ACARS and VHS from SATCOM. So ACARS cannot send SATCOM a logon request to the company that says, "Hello dear, I'm logging on to the system," and tells Malaysian Airlines that, in fact, this flight is alive, still up in the air, and still existing. Right? So, and he also turned off VHF radio so no one can contact them and stuff. Even though they tried and failed miserably. But one cheeky little thing SATCOM does that I don't think Zahari knew. Because if Zahari knew this, he would just turn off all the engines and start gliding. Or like, I say gliding. He would have tried to cut off SATCOM from talking, but what SATCOM does at a point, I think slightly after, let's say this point, let's just label it SATCOM online. Right, SATCOM is online at this, let's just say this point, slightly outside. Well, let me zoom in there. SATCOM is online, and we can see it is very online. I don't know what voice I'm doing. But yeah, at this point, SAT comes online slightly outside the sphere of tracking. And this creates our first arc. Well, if you guys watched a Netflix documentary, you would know I've watched it 69 times.
Nice.
But yeah, okay, I'm getting dizzy now. Lovely. What SATCOM can do, once it comes online, it sends a telltale logon request. Now, it doesn't send this logon request to, and what it's trying to log on to is not Malaysian's whole network and stuff, right? It's just any ground station network it can try and find. Because obviously it wants to say that, hello, I am alive, right? So it can, I believe it connected to a ground station in Perth. No, that was later on in the flight, but it's connected to a ground station. And it sent this logon request saying, hello, I would like, sorry about that, guys. I would like to log on to your system. Right, and they log on to the system. Well, they don't log on, they send a logon request. Logon request? Yes, logon request to the ground station, right? And this happens. And once the logon request is sent, the ground station says, yep, okay, received, got you. Lovely. So what we call this a handshake. Right, at least the Netflix crew call it. Why is this folded? How did this get folded? I did not fold it like your mother last night. Anyways, so say we have a ground station here in Indonesia. This flight sent a signal here to, let's just say this is a satellite in geostationary orbit. This is a SAT because, SATCOM, talking to satellites. It sent a signal to the satellite, which then redirected this signal to a ground station, literally any ground station in the vicinity. We're just taking Indonesia for an example. I don't remember which one. I know further on in the flight, it was Perth in Australia. But, yeah. So the signal is sent from the aircraft to the satellite, and from the satellite to the ground station, and the ground station sends it, yes, I got you, bro, back to the satellite and back to the aircraft. And this happens all in like microseconds because, radio signals are literally just photons with a different frequency. So it's literally traveling at the speed of light. Speed of light transmission, or obviously dependent on the medium it's traveling in, which is the atmosphere, and then space, and then back to the atmosphere again. So it's not perfect light speed, but, well, I say perfect light speed through a vacuum. It's perfect light speed through air, mostly, right? So this signal happens once, and what was the company? I forgot what the company was called.
12 seconds later.
Dang it! I'll figure that out in editing. But one very genius company, years later, by the way, this is years later. It basically used was Inmarsat. Yep. Let's just talk about Inmarsat. And this is an acronym, by the way. SAT. Inmarsat is the IN is international, MAR is marine, and then SAT is satellite. So international marine satellite communications. That's what they do. They basically do just any overseas communication relying on satellites. And this satellite was a satellite belonging to their company. So it was an Inmarsat satellite in geostationary orbit. So what geostationary orbit means is relative to the planet. This satellite is not moving anywhere. So as the planet rotates, the satellite is rotating at the same rate as the planet. So as far as it's concerned, it's always looking at the exact same point on the planet, right? As it orbits around. So relative to the Earth, if you look up, that satellite is not going to be moving. First of all, you wouldn't be able to see the satellite because, it's a satellite. It's absolutely tiny. And space is big. So, yeah. I want to actually have this over there so that all the fuel can drip down and be ready for me to light. Right. So Inmarsat is this great company that owns the satellite. The signal was traveling to an Inmarsat satellite and back down. The same satellite for the rest of the flight. So what Inmarsat was able to do, they found these logon requests and they looked at the timestamp. So say it's like 10:30, right? And the microseconds and all that stuff. And for some reason it displays micro. I don't know. They're a genius company. So what they decided to do, they know when the signal was received. Do they? Oh yes. Did they know when the signal was sent? Because that logon request comes with a timestamp. They know when that signal was sent, and they know when the signal was received by the satellite. So it's like 10:30 and a different microsecond timestamp, right? So they subtract the time, and then they basically see how long it took for the signal to send from the aircraft to the satellite. And using basic maths, speed distance time, they were able to calculate the distance that, because we know the speed is fixed. The speed is the speed of light. We know that. So using the speed of light and the time difference between these two, between the sending and receiving of the message, they were able to determine basically the distance from the satellite. And obviously the distance could be literally anywhere. So like, it could be over here, it could be over here, it could be over here. You don't know which bearing the distance is on, but you know it's at a fixed distance. So this creates a radius around the satellite. And since the satellite is geostationary, it's constant. The radius is going to be constant. The satellite acts like an anchor point. So anytime the signal is sent again, it creates a ring around the satellite. That's a horrible ring, but screw it, who cares? So we know that the flight was anywhere on this ring, not inside it, not outside it, on the ring. It was anywhere on the line, right? Now, funny thing about SATCOM, since Zahari turned the generators back on, SATCOM comes online, and since it's unable to actually log on to any network, every single, because it's a different network, it's not the Malaysian, it's not the company's network that it's logged into. And so it's just sending a request. And then I suppose the request is being denied. I don't know how that system works. I just know that a response message was sent back by the ground station automatically. I'm assuming by some like robot chatbot or something. I don't think it's some guy saying, I don't know who you are. Oh, is it raining again? Let's go. Oh my god. Okay, guys, side tangent. Oh, okay, let's not get fuel all over the bed. It's not going to leak anyways, but yeah. Side tangent. It's been raining here where I am for 3 days now. Today's a Tuesday. All my Indian viewers are going to be like, Tuesday. Oh my god, he said Tuesday. Shut the fuck up. Okay. But it's been raining heavily for the past 3 days. I mean, there's been flooding in my area. The streets have become rivers. I was so tempted to just buy a canoe and start canoeing down. Obviously, I'm not going to buy a canoe. That's a bit retarded. Don't do that. Do not do that. You're not Peter Schreiber. Oh, wow. That was hot. Not really, mate. But yeah. So basically, Monday and today, school was cancelled because there's so much rain. And it's been raining all day. It stopped for a few hours, but obviously it was raining again. And now, it started raining. I beg, please, I'm atheist, but I'm still gonna fucking pray. Please, rain gods, keep it raining, cancel school again. Please, I'm begging you. I'll sacrifice. I will make it. Okay, thank you. I will make a sacrifice. Okay, I'll conduct a seance. Come on. Please, I'll light this entire place on fire. For the rain gods to put it out. Someone's here. Someone's here? Someone, oh. Is this a sign? The rain gods put out my flame. Guys, we're not going to have school tomorrow. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But, okay. Side tangents aside. Where was we? What the fuck? Right, where was we, guys? So this created a ring around the satellite, and obviously the flight couldn't have gotten from where we last know it was, which was the fuck, where was it? Just at the very edge of military tracking airspace, right? It can't have gone from here all the way to like Madagascar or something. It can't have gone from here all the way up to Russia. Like it's not possible because there was like 3 minutes between this exchange going on and it leaving military. Oh my god, why am I burping so much? Why do I always burp in my videos? Can I like light my burps on fire? I'd like to know. Come on, if cows can fart methane, can I burp methane? I remember I saw this guy on YouTube that lit his fart on fire, and it was so funny because it was like a 40-year-old dad with his kids just lighting his farts on fire, and honestly, the most wholesome moment you've ever seen in your life. It was so funny. The flames were massive, like massive. That's what she said. Anyways, It was only 3 minutes. So obviously in 3 minutes the flight couldn't have gone from here to like fucking Madagascar. They would have to be going like Mach 15 or something. And a 777 cannot go Mach 15. I mean, I suppose unless you're re-entering the atmosphere from space, but you know, planes can't get up to space. So, using the known speed, the known maximum speed of a 777. Can you shut the fuck up?
Emotional damage.
Who is outside and screaming? Shut up. I understand it's raining. I can already hear cars splashing about. I understand it's raining, but shut the fuck up. I'm trying to record a video. Please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm so sorry I had to put you guys through that. But yeah, obviously engineers at Inmarsat, well, I guess engineers and investigators, they calculated a specific section of this ring that the flight could be on, which we call an arc. So maybe from here to here, the flight could not have gone past there. But they could have made a sharp turn and then travel to this point, and then it would be there when the handshake happened. Or it could travel to this point and be there when the handshake happened, right? And I'm just guessing, I'm just saying it was there just for namesake, but it could be anywhere on this arc, right? That eliminates all of this, right? So we know it was here for a fact because of these signals being sent. We know for a fact that this was here because it's sent by that aircraft, right? Yeah. And the thing is, since it cannot actually log on to a network, because it's not the Malaysian Airlines actual network, it doesn't have the authority to log on to random networks, right? Every single hour. So, shut the fuck up, you 3-year-old retard. Every hour, it sends this message. Let's just say MSG, Uncle Roger. Say MSG. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm getting high on lighter fumes, guys. Unintentionally, but yeah, still. Okay. Message sent. Every hour. Like a needy boyfriend. I am like that person, but we're not going to get into that. Every hour, a message was sent outwards to this satellite, specifically. I don't know why I chose this satellite, but it was just this satellite. I guess it was the closest one in the area. Or the most stable, because it's geostationary. I don't know. But every single hour, a message was being sent to that satellite. Also, can I say this? It's getting really dark. And I really appreciate that, because, dude, the rain gods... First of all, it started raining even harder. Right? And also, my lighter just went out randomly. So, can we get like a like on the video for no school? Because, like, bro, who likes school anymore? It's ridiculous. If you like school, you're either a teacher or you're just uneducated on how horrible the system is, and how many suicide deaths it causes every year. I believe it was upwards of 4,000. That's a whole other topic for a whole other video, but yeah. Let's get back on track. Okay, shall we? This video is already half an hour long. I hope you guys are enjoying. Bro, this is such a perfect... You know what? For just a little bit of the video, I'm gonna put in one of my favorite rainy day songs. If you guys know Deathbed and Deathbed Part 2, my favorite rainy day songs, my favorite sad songs. Oh, I know why it's going out, because the fan's on and it's blowing directly downward. That's why. I'm a retard. I'm sorry, guys. That was hot. Okay. But yes, every hour this message was sent. That means, and also, a total of 8 messages was sent, because these were obviously recorded by Inmarsat, the company, right? So this created 8 different rings around this geostationary satellite, which created a lovely... Wait, hold on, which direction were they in?
12 seconds later.
Yes, 7 different arcs all the way down to our very last one. Obviously, it's not 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just put another one in there. 7 arcs. Fuck. 8 arcs. I mean, Netflix says 7, but brand new data shows 8. So, I say brand new. This was like a year and a half ago, I think. The data. Actually, I think it was like more than a year and a half. I think it was like 3 years ago. Actually, I don't really remember. I'll have to look back and see when the video I watched was. But yes, 7 different. Oh my god, I am so addicted to Netflix. Not Netflix, but that one Netflix show. But yeah, 8 different arcs it created, which means the flight could have gone. We know it was here at these different timestamps. We know it was somewhere on this arc, and then it moved at a certain speed. And when by the way, this time, the time it took to get from this arc to this arc, exactly an hour. Because if you remember, every hour this message is being sent. So it got from here, it downwards. This arc was located here. We know it was there because of the speed, distance, time calculations. This is why you should stay in school, guys. So you can be nerdy and work for Inmarsat, I guess. I suppose. That's the only reason. My maths teacher would be so proud. She would not. But anyways, 7... oh god, can you shut the fuck up, Joff?
Emotional damage.
Shut the fuck up. 8 different arcs. So we know it was here, 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 it was here. Now how do we know it was doing this weird figure 8 nutsack looking thing? We know that because of this very sick thing that we like to call, I say we, all of the radio enthusiasts, what do we call them? Radio amateur guys, the guys that have radios and play around with radio frequencies and just like walkie-talkies and stuff. Say walkie-talkies. General communication radios and just like radio waves and stuff. Those kind of nerds. Honestly, props to them, because without them, we would never have this data. It's fresh data a few years ago, but fresh data called Whisper Data. WSPR. I forgot what it stood for. But basically, it's this really sick thing. I'm going to have to draw another map here. Should we go to the next page? What's on the next page? Good, next page 3. So, let's just say, America's here. Yeah, I'm just going to blob for America. Australia's over here. Right? So, if, say, someone's over here in, like, New York or something, and someone's here in, like, Melbourne or something, right? And this guy finds a lovely free frequency. Did you guys see that yellow thing off in the distance? Can I cover that thing? What is that? Right, okay, can we just first of all appreciate the zoom on my camera? Because let me just zoom out. That's how far away the thing is. If I zoom all the way in, the detail is ridiculous. I mean, props to the Vivo guys who made the Vivo X300 Pro. But yeah, if say you're in New York, you're sending a signal all the way to Melbourne, and that signal travels, right? There's this whole community that made an open source database where they log all of these radio transmissions, how its path took, right? And say an aircraft was passing by, and these radio frequencies hit the aircraft and went on. The frequency and all the data of that, the frequency of that, the signal would be changed ever so slightly. You'd get like disturbances in the signal because obviously it hits a large metallic or like large object. Right, it would get like refracted or just deflected and stuff, right? So that would cause a disturbance in the frequency at that point, right? And this would be logged. So in a way, since we have so many different people sending so many different signals to anywhere across the globe, you basically have this massive grid or like this massive map. So if anything is flying through the area, it creates a ripple or just disturbances in all of these different signals. And since we have a massive database that collects all this data, and this happened in 2014, by the way, guys, this technology was available in 2014, and we just were able to access it now. These guys, I think they used AI, I believe. This was maybe not AI, but they created computer algorithm programs. Yes, it was an algorithm, not AI, it was an algorithm that they used, these group of researchers and radio enthusiasts. Why? Probably because okay. Do I need to shake this up? Maybe. There we go. Is it in the cap as well? No? Okay, I give up. I give up. Why are you like this? This lighter is so fucking bipolar, bro. Is this a sign? Is this what my girlfriend's gonna be like? Just ridiculous? No.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Okay. First of all, I'm never gonna get one anyways, because, guys, come on, it's me. No, I don't even need to elaborate on that. But yeah, it created any passing object or aircraft, mainly aircraft, because like what other large object do you know that's passing through the sky, right? It would create a disturbance, like a ripple of disturbances through all these frequencies, and this basically creates a very rudimentary flight tracking software kind of thing. And it was not designed to track flights. It was designed to track radio signals and how these signals interact with the world around them. And unintentionally, they just discovered a way to track aircraft. It's the same thing with the Inmarsat. This whole speed calculation thing, they never needed. They never intended to track aircraft with their satellite communication capabilities. Like this is pure science, man. This is purely nerds being nerds. The company had no interest in this. So basically, they created this map, and that gave us this flight path, right? Because every single point on this flight path is a point where a radio signal was sent and then got disturbed by Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. That signal hit the plane, got disturbed, and reached its destination, and that was recorded and obviously put on the database. And they obviously scoured these algorithms that these researchers made, scoured through every ow. God, I hate it when it cuts me. Hate it when it cuts me. It hurts so bad afterwards when I'm like touching things. Pause. But yeah. Not fun. But okay. Every single like point on this flight path was when the radio signal hit the plane, sent to the ground station, was recorded. I say ground station, just anyone with a ham radio. I think it was a ham radio, right? I think ham radio. I don't remember. But any radio that was able to get disturbed by an aircraft. And put on the tracking, not tracking, but the database, I guess tracking, radio signal tracking software, database. And then these algorithms were able to cherry pick the ones that hit Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, and that gave us this flight path. Now, what I believe Mentor Pilot covered this in his wrap-up video of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, is that the flight, it seemed to be looking like it was heading to a waypoint. So say it was going over here. The flight obviously took this turn and it went over here, right? There was a waypoint slightly ahead of this, and we think that Captain Zahari was trying to evade anyone potentially watching him. So he was assuming that he was still in military radar tracking range, because obviously he doesn't know. I mean, yes, he does. He knows how far Malaysian tracking, the Malaysians military primary radar tracking ranges, but he doesn't know. He hasn't memorized the tracking radiuses of every single country and every single airspace, right? So his safest bet is to assume that he's constantly being watched and being tracked. So what he needs to do is blend into the surrounding traffics, right? So if anyone was looking at the flight, they would think, oh, he's just heading over to this waypoint in like a planned flight path or something, right? At the last second, he makes a turn. And then say he heads over to a waypoint that's over here, that's in line with this potential flight. Then he makes a turn again and just keeps doing this. Keeps like zigzagging between different waypoints, like your mum with different boyfriends last night. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God!
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, he constantly was doing this until he reached a certain point somewhere deep. My hand is getting really tight. Oh God, yeah, my hand is sore. I've been holding the phone up in a really just precarious position for oh God, yeah, my hand is stiff. That's not. Oof. You know when you like sit in like a cramped position for like a really long time? That's what my wrist feels like right now. I really don't want to hold this now. Let's just hold it a different position. Sure. I dropped my phone because of that. Jesus. It was on the bed, so it's fine. But where was I? Yes, he was trying to evade the suspicion, right, by looking like he's going to different waypoints and then turning off last second. So by the time he reached this whole section in the map, he's deep in the southern Indian Ocean, right? Because these handshakes confirm that he went there. Like, if we go back to our map, this is our map. This over here is like the deep southern Indian Ocean. Australia would be somewhere over here. Right? Perth and stuff would be somewhere over here. So this is deep in the southern Indian Ocean, and we know this because the handshakes have confirmed that the aircraft was definitely there because of science. Right? So this flight path, and also we know the whisper data was fairly accurate, because it was able to track the flight even like from this, even within the known parameters that we were able to track it with normal methods. It was able to, when we compare the tracking data from the Whisper data to the data that we have for a fact by the radar, by the military radar and ATC, it was follow along pretty accurately. But it didn't make any crazy deviations, so we know it's relatively accurate. So we know this is like pretty much like completely facts, right? It's the closest thing we can get to a confirmed flight route. Oh my! Chill, Drav. Chill. We get it. You have no friends. Chill out. Alright, so sorry about that, guys. So we know he did this infinity loop pattern, and the theory behind this infinity loop pattern, that mentor pilot, if you guys don't watch him, please go and watch him, because I've been supporting this guy from day one, not day one, but like a while, since like COVID, bro. This guy's an absolute legend. Watch his videos, his podcast as well, Captain Speaking with Ben Watts. Support Ben Watts as well, and Captain Steve. All these guys, absolute legends. If you're an aviation geek, first of all, you should already be following these guys, because come on, you're not a true nerd if you don't follow these guys, but on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, right. The theory behind this infinity loop pattern thing is that, say you're trying to avoid all suspicion, right? You don't want to crash in the ocean when there are like ships around and they know what, and they can report their location, they can report the coordinates and stuff. You don't want anyone seeing what you do, right? So what Zahari did is that he did this infinity loop pattern to tilt his aircraft so you can see out the window and visually confirm down below. Because if you take a flight, for example, they're going straight and level. The angle of the angle they can see is parallel to the ground, right? So if you tilt the aircraft, you can see the ground now because you're looking down, right? So if he's doing these turns, so you can see downwards, and he makes another turn to see in the other direction, right? To visually confirm that there are no ships, and obviously it'd be very rare to see a ship that far in the Indian Ocean, in the southern Indian Ocean. But like, it'd be safer to confirm. And we basically know that he did this because of the Whisper data, right? Because they literally gave us a flight path, and this is what popped up in the flight. Why is it not lighting? I do not understand why my lighter does this now. Is it genuinely just because of downdraft? Is it literally because there's no oxygen getting into the flame? You know what, let's test this theory out, shall we? Let's turn the fan off and figure it out, because I'm genuinely so confused. So confused. Why? You know what? I'm going to get on the bed and slow the fan down myself. Can we stop moving, please? It's not even warm. You know, yeah, cool. Let's just do that. Lovely. Now I want to know. I'm zoom out as well. I want to know. Is that the problem? Is that what's going on? No. No way that was it. Hold on, how big did the flames get? Yep, that was it. That was it for sure. What the heck? Obviously there's a draft from outside. But bro, really? It was literally just a downdraft from the fan. I don't even know why I had the fan on, because it's not even giving me that significant of a breeze to like actually cool me down. If anything, the rain has cooled me down, like even more than anything. So it's completely pointless. I'm just wasting my flints here. It's fine. I have like 50 flints. Well, actually, 45, because I used up some of them. I don't think I used up 5. I have one inside the chamber, and one in the chamber here that's being used, and one inside the fuel tank, which is storage. Steve, right? But yeah, so that's basically the theory behind the loop, right? And again, this is towards the end of the flight, by the way. And one fascinating, of course, what am I saying? One fascinating thing about the ACARS data, that it gives us, the ACARS and Inmarsat data, yeah, is that let's just say this is the ground, and the flight is tracking along like this, right? It sends one of its thingies. Dang it. What was it? Yeah, it's also constantly sending out random signals as well, like other information signals. I don't know why, but it was just sending out these signals towards the end, right? So we have one signal that's sent, and then the plane starts descending, and it sends another signal. And we know that this is the case because, right, the distance from the satellite, like laterally, the lateral distance from the satellite doesn't change that much but the distance that the signal took to get to the satellite changed more than it should have, right? So that indicates that the flight started descending, that there's a vertical vector in the flight's flight path. Because obviously, if the flight was just traveling straight along its path, this would have a certain distance, right? But if the flight was descending, right, the distance would be the exact same, but the lateral distance, look, the lateral distance has changed. The lateral distance is shorter. So that's how we figured out that the aircraft was descending, because as it's sending these signals out to the same satellite, by the way, as it's sending these signals out to the satellite, this is happening. The duration that the signal took changes, while the lateral distance hasn't changed as much. So we know that there's a vertical component, and as it's sending different signals, say this was sent at like 10 o'clock, this was sent at 10:05, this was sent at like 10:06, right? So as the flight is descending, we can get an idea of its vertical speed. So by this data, we can tell that the aircraft started, let's just say the ground is just beneath, like say this is the ground, and the aircraft, this is like top down kind of side, from the side, like the plane's over here, we're over here looking at it for like, kind of like that, you know, it's traveling like that, and if it starts descending, we can see it, right? Let me just paint you that picture. So the flight is traveling along, right? And then it starts, obviously one of the engines cuts off because it's got no fuel left. So it starts, like, say, banking in one direction, because, you know, one of the engines cuts off. You have asymmetrical thrust now because it's a twin-engine turbofan aircraft. And then it starts, obviously, its nose starts dipping because, you know, it just starts dipping because there's no more fuel and there's no power and stuff. And then the second engine, flames out, and then the descent increases even more. And then it gets to a point where it's basically 90 degrees. Right? It's descending so quickly, it's basically falling out the sky, nose down. And then obviously it just crashes into the ocean with basically no explosion because, like, the fuel's gone, all the fuel is gone. And you know, something that's really funny, and we know this for a fact because of the Inmarsat data, right? Fascinating stuff. Honestly, you can see why I'm obsessed with this flight. And what's really funny is that the flight crashed somewhere in like 6 or like 8 in the morning. The next day, because they took off at like 1 o'clock or something, at 1 in the morning, and then presumably it crashed. Obviously, no, we know it crashed because of the timestamps and stuff. It crashed somewhere like 6 to 8 in the morning, and while that was happening, authorities were already alerted that the flight is missing. A rescue team was already dispatched out and trying to look for it. And obviously, when they're trying to look for it, they call up the company. And since Malaysia already has its own tracking software, they looked at the tracking software, saw that the flight was on their tracking software, and then went out looking for it. But the thing with the Malaysian Airlines tracking software is that once it loses the ability to track the flight, it just presumes that that flight is still going based on the data of its last known position. So since it stopped at Igari, it takes the speed data, the speed data, position data, heading data from the flight and extrapolates it and just predicts where the flight should be if all those parameters stayed the same. So by this logic, the flight was somewhere in Cambodia, when we know it's in the southern Indian Ocean, kilometers and kilometers away from the actual from where the tracking software is saying it is. And the Malaysian authorities and Malaysian Airlines didn't realize this until search teams and search helicopters were sent out over the fucking China Sea to look for the flight. And all of this was happening while the aircraft was still in the air and still flying. The aircraft is still chilling somewhere over here. Right? And these guys are looking in the South China Sea to see if the aircraft is somewhere over there, because the tracking software is like, okay, yeah, these guys are in Cambodia. Because, like, what? And when they realize, oh shit, our tracking software is not tracking the flight, it's just assuming its position. Well, fuck, we don't know where these guys are. It's like, what? How did you guys not know that your tracking software does this? Come on, you are the airline. You have this. It's your tracking software. Like, what? It's hilarious, man. But yeah, That's what happened to the flight, guys. This is our theory. And by the way, all of this, we think that Captain Zahari intentionally has done all of this. Why? We will never know. We just never will know. And obviously, that's not a good enough answer for the families of the 239 people on board. It will never be a good enough answer because, come on, they lost all of their family members. The first officer, his wife lost his husband. Countless family members were on board. I believe some children were on board as well. Yes, kids were on board as well. I remember one French family was on board, going back, and the husband was so devastated. I mean, he was in the Netflix documentary as well. Went to the press and stuff. Tried to sue the airline, not the airline. I think was it the airline or was it the Malaysian authorities? I don't remember. He tried to sue different people because, come on, his wife and his kids gone. So completely understandable what he did. And yeah, that's our theory. This is the theory of least assumptions, by the way. This is what the least assumptions what we think happened. He could have gone he could have gone further east or further west and then gone back, but obviously we don't think he did because of the new whisper data that gives us this lovely flight plan, which is really close. Oh, okay. Look, it's so safe, it's not even going to burn the paper. I will leave this here for the entire... Oh, it's starting to burn it now. Yep, you can see it's starting to, Ready? That's all it did. Just discolor it. I'll put it on the cloth as well. It's so safe, it's ridiculous. Right? People say I'm crazy. Not even warm. Not even warm to the touch. You guys think I'm unsafe with my lighter. Anyways, that will conclude the final part of the episode. It's been a long one, guys. But I hope you guys appreciated it, because this has been a fascination point for the longest time for me. So I think we're going to close our book. And I'm going to say peace, love, and Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Bye-bye, guys. Catch you guys in the next episode. Oh, also, I'd like to say this in the episode before I go. If you guys like my shenanigans, my just random rants and stuff, I think our next episode, our next video is going to be on the Bala song. Because I want to make a ballet video, because I may or may not have slightly clickbaited you guys with one of my vlog episodes. It was episode 5, I think. The title was Bala Song Shenanigans, and it wasn't me talking about the Bala Song, it was just me fumbling with the Bala Song the whole time. And almost, I believe 70% of my viewers just clicked off the video when they realized this is absolute bosh. After 30 seconds, they just left. So sorry about that, guys. I will do an actual, I'll actually do a video, saying, why am I actually burping so much? I never burp this much when I'm just chilling playing Minecraft. Is it just a YouTuber thing? Is this what I'm gonna have to do with every time I try and record? I just start burping. What? What are we doing with our life, guys? Biological systems, Matt, please explain this. Bio teacher, please. Why only when I'm speaking? When I'm recording videos? Is it trying to get attention? My digestive system? What? But yeah, peace, love, and Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, the 12th year anniversary. Catch you guys in the next one. Subscribe if you guys like the content. Peace out. See ya.